Catch go at Megiddo. We stopping here just outside of Walmart. You know, just outside of Walmart. Pulled over, went in and grabbed really just some Lysol spray for myself and a car air freshener. So we're gonna take old Cayenne out. Just let us, you know, use the restroom and all that, and hit the road. Just give her a little food, a little half a cup of something for right now. We still got a ways to go, about 12 hours, about 10 hours out now. Just before I even hit the road, getting stretched on out. Just go ahead and give her a little half a cup of food. We're gonna stop again, things like that. But right now, come on. Come on. Let me see. Let me see. Just getting her going. She just ate, you know, a little bit of food, water on it, just to get her satisfied. And I ain't want to stop at no truck stop. I will, but I didn't want to stop at no place where I know a lot of other dogs done track through, or stop at a rest stop. Get off of that. Come on. Things like that. But making the breeding happen, you know, when it's time to make it happen, it's time to roll. It's time to roll. So things just fell in right in place for me. So things fell right in place, and we was able to make it happen. And sometimes you gotta, when you see the opportunity, you gotta go ahead and jump on it. And that's putting a lot of things in place, as far as, hey, we finna gas up, get the car, load up, we finna ride out. Even if it's just you and your dog. So it's one thing to plan breedings in your mind or see other people's dogs, and you got an idea, say, if I had that Jip, I'd breed her to this dog. Or if I had that dog, I'd breed her to this dog. And you ain't even got the dog, but you know how we be. We looking at pedigrees and lining things up and things like that. So that's how it be. But it's a whole nother thing to plan something, and then when it's time to make it happen, hey, we finna make it happen. So that's what we doing right now. So shout out to everybody, you know, that is out there making things happen, that is, you know, putting a lot of time and effort into making better dogs and breeding good dogs and things like that. So planning is the most important. Then when it's time to execute, hey man, it's time to roll. That's gonna be the foundation right here. Making this breeding, you know, explaining why I'm doing it and everything that it, you know, takes, everything it took to make this breeding happen. So here we go. So it's the second day. You know, we left out last night. Been driving for about an hour and a half now. You know, waking up early, pulled over at a rest stop, and you know, you just gotta get your hours in, man. You gotta catch a few hours of sleep. So how I was able to make it come together. So a lot of times, sometimes we don't do things because we don't have the money, we don't have the resources, meaning the travel means to get where we trying to go. You know, we ain't got everything in place to make the idea we trying to make happen. So how I was able to make it happen was basically make sure I watch traffic too, but these cars ain't BSing out here. Basically, I was able to make it come together by first having the idea. You know, when you putting things together, have the idea, have the thought what you want to do. And secondly, don't quit your job. You know, you got to be working to have your means of income, right? So we'll have something in place to be ready to pay for it, whatever you're trying to do. So I was able to make this thing happen by, all right, going through a little rough patch on the road. So able to make this thing happen. Basically, I had a leak going on inside my house, right? The AC was leaking inside the house and just messing the floor up. So called the insurance company and all that. Basically, you know, got my claim and was able to get the check to pay for everything. And you know, of course, what you got left over, you know, you got a little change in your pocket left over, right? Long story short, that's how I was able to make it happen. All right. So the breeding fee, the stud fee to come down, you know, the gas money and all that, you know, I had a little pocket money left over. So yeah, the insurance money from me having a claim on my AC leaking in my house, you know, where I stay. It was messing the floor up. So I, you know, luckily we were still under warranty. So luckily we were still under warranty and was able to get the insurance claim, and that's how I was able to have the extra funds. So first things first, you don't want to take away from your household. You don't want to take away from your, paying your monthly regular bills. So this dog breeding thing we doing, you do not want to take away from your household, first and foremost. All right, so even before the claim came through, I already had in my mind I was going to use one breeding to pay for this breeding, right? Just reinvest the money from one breeding to pay the stud fee, to get the gas, have the gas money to get down here, get back from Mississippi to North Carolina, 11 hours from Mississippi to North Carolina. And the timing, you got to be ready to, get up and go. You got to be ready to move. Everybody say, I'm a go-getter, I'm a mover, I'm a shaker, I'm about it. But when it's time to be about it, you got some decisions to make. You got to either take off work, you got to either go ahead and plan ahead. But how everything happened, it just fell right in line. Boom, 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 it just fell right in line. So I was looking to have this, make this breeding to pay for it from another breeding, from Red Bumpy to Marvel, which didn't take. That breeding didn't take. So you gotta expect things, not to go as planned. You gotta have, backup plans, so to say. So I bred Bumpy to Marvel, thinking I was gonna take, from that breeding and be able to make this breeding happen. She didn't take. Bumpy was bred to Trina as well. So with the job, you gotta have your job situation. If you got your savings right, even if you don't got your savings right, but hey, you got your income tax coming. Whatever it is, you gotta put back or put aside to make what you're trying to do happen. All right, so that's how I was basically able to make it happen. I was in my mind, I had to plan it out. So I had to call Mr. Tom Garner beforehand, just communication. I was like, hey, I got a female, I'm planning on breeding to a particular dog I see you have. When she come in heat, I want to be able to, come down there, get the, what's the stud fee on the dog, and just talking properly, just doing good business, being professional, reaching out ahead of time. So he told me like 2 months ago what everything was. I had in my mind what I had to do. And once the time came around, female coming heat, you got to be ready to roll. So that was my thinking process on how I was going to be able to pay for this breeding to make happen. Pay the stud fee, get the gas money, get out, get back, and what have you. So that's how everything come about. So I was going to set money aside from a job, put back, a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there. But sometimes you ain't able to do that. You got bills, you got children, you got life going on, and you need tires on the car, you need brakes on the car, whatever. And I need these things, so tires on the car, brakes on the car, oil change. You got to keep up with all this stuff. This is just outside of, your normal bills. So that's what I'm saying. You got to prepare and be thinking of, how can I make my plan happen? How can I make the idea in my head happen? It's one thing to plan something, and then you got to be able also to execute that plan. So I had things in place, I had other breedings in place to pay for this planned breeding. If the breedings wasn't going to fall in place, okay, I had my job. I was going to put aside money here and there and, be able to put towards this. But like I was saying, my AC was leaking in my house. So I had to be on top of that. You got to be on top of your stuff. We're just dealing with your household stuff. So weeks ago, I was making the claim, and everything take 5 to 7 business days when you got to, send stuff off, and they got to send a check back to you, and they got to come out, they got to send an inspector out first. So all that was going on, about a month ago, and then basically, long story short, everything just fell through. And I mean, it fell through the day of. And I was talking to Mr. Garner yesterday before I left, like, hey, this is what I got planned. I plan on coming, on this day, on Sunday actually, which is I plan on coming on a Sunday, which I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm busy on Saturdays, I got stuff going on. So I was like, I'm gonna come on Sunday. He was like, well, when did she start bleeding? We talked about that. We can get a progesterone test done. He was like, basically, you can get her down here as soon as possible. So I'm wanting to get her down there. So basically, I had to take off my job. I told my job, hey, I'm gone. I got something going on. And most folks will say, I gotta go to work. Or, the job say, hey, we really need you. and I'm a truck driver. You know, this is how I make my living. I'm a truck driver. I go out and come back. So I ain't just all over. I ain't just out all over the road to where I'm not at home. Obviously, you got to be at home to have the dogs, and I ain't got very many dogs, so it's very manageable. So I told the company told me, hey, we need you to make this run, and believe it or not, I'm already setting up for another job. I already told them, hey, I'm finna be leaving in 2 weeks. Hey, I'm finna be gone. So when they asked me to do something on a day I got something planned, I had to tell them no. It's 2 words my grandpa told me to learn. He died, he passed away now. But you know, they tell you life things and you gotta remember it when it, you know, it come back to you. He said, son, learn 2 words. Yes and no. Meaning tell people what you gonna do and tell them what you ain't gonna do. That's what I took from it. When he told me that, I immediately understood what he was saying. Learn 2 words, yes and no. So when they called me asking me to take a load, and I'm already got this plan, I had to tell them no. Most folks would have gave in to the job, would have been like, no, it ain't meant to be. No, it is meant to be. A lot of times we gotta make stuff happen. You know, we gotta get up and move. We gotta go when it's time to go. When the opportunity comes, you got to ride, you got to go. So, but you can't just go and not have other stuff, you know, already having other stuff in place. Meaning I already had my bills paid. You know, I already had, you know, another job lined up if you're going to leave your job. Or you already told them, hey, I'm going to take off this day. I got this planned. Especially dealing with dogs, sometimes you don't know, but they come in heat. You know you got like a few days to make it happen, to get the dog to where you're trying to go, or whatever you're trying to apply this to. We got to be communicative. We got to make things happen. We got to be transparent. And when the opportunity comes, you got to go. All right, don't let, you know, you being scared to make the move. You telling yourself, nah, it ain't meant to be. Nah, it is meant to be. You've been planning it. You done thought about it. So that's how this breeding was able to get, you know, get done. So I'm just documenting everything. Getting down here, I'm documenting everything. So this is what it's about. You know, this is what it's about. So Lord's will, you know, we get down here safe. Traffic been crazy. I just got past Atlanta, so we're gonna shoot to North Carolina. When we get there, we're gonna check back in with you. Cayenne, you see she in the back, and yeah, we finna make it happen. We finna make it happen, Cap. Cayenne. So another quick pit stop, another pit stop. All right, had to find the best spot I can get to go ahead and get some gas. Gotta check them prices sometime. And obviously want to let her out best I can. You know, take her to the right spot, right area. So another quick pit stop. Come on. Hey, so this Megiddo just pulling up. So my first time here. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all probably already been to Mr. Tom Garner's yard. I haven't. For those who haven't, you know, hey, just sharing the experience. A lot of folks, you know, just have done the traveling thing with the dogs and things like that. And in the age we in now, I'm just, you know, documenting it, this YouTube thing. And yeah, so we're gonna see how I go. I'll keep y'all updated. Just made it. If you've been out here to the pickers and whatnot, you already know what it is, but this is my first time here, so we're gonna see. All right.
This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
Yep. They got your pants, leg.
Yeah, oh yeah. And you see they were just dead asleep.
Yep. Yeah, they nice, bro. What y'all feeding again? Black bag?
Purple bag to the puppy.
Purple bag to the puppy. Okay. So we was able to get them tied. They real professional up here. I mean, we got it done, no problem. Cayenne, you know what she is, heavy sorrels. The Hickson, the Libra red blood. We're gonna capture all them traits right there. I mean, some great working dogs, great catch dogs. So I just, you know, glad we was able to get it done. Megiddo back at it one more time for you. So we headed back out to pick up Cayenne from Bulldog Hill, from Mr. Tom Garner. So I left out yesterday evening, you know, same old process, loaded up, and headed back out this way from Mississippi to North Carolina. Completing the breeding, made the breeding, you know, got a few sticks in, a few ties, got a progesterone test done, you know, the whole 9 yards. So headed back to pick her up. On the way up here, I made another play, I made another move. It just so happened it fell into place as far as in line in my route, so I went ahead and made the play, made the move. I picked up a pair of pups from Family Ties Kennels. So shout out to you, my dude, Family Ties Kennels, good brother. He basically got some Garner dogs as well, and it just so happened he had some pups. I had hit him up, and we made a play. We made a play, talked about some future breedings, talked about some future things. So it worked out for both of us, and you know, me and him gonna do some things in the future as well. So shout out to you, bro. Family Ties Kennel. So y'all check him out. So he got some Garner dogs. I picked up a pair, so you'll be seeing those too. And you know, you can check those out when I start showing those more. But headed back, so I'm just, you know, finishing up documenting the whole process. Seeing the dogs, knowing the bloodlines. I'm expecting it to work. So I ain't just putting things together. You know, the sorrels cross well with the Bolio. It crossed, and then you got the dog I'm going to, Hickson Jr. If you look at Hickson Jr., he is mostly a Libra red dog. Garner's Libra red. If you look at Libra red, he is a heavy what? He got the Bolio influence. He got the boomerang influence in there, and believe it or not, he got a dog in there, a Soros dog named Soros Bull in his pedigree. So that's Libra red. Which Libra red, you go down the spectrum, go down the pedigree tree, you got Hickson Jr. So that was the whole point of making this breeding with Hickson Jr. So Cayenne was the right female, her personality, her attitude, her drive, her tenacity, and everything. She got that loving attitude, very malleable, very friendly. I was able to see Hickson Jr. in person, and I was able to pet him, you know, see how he act and things like that. So I'm expecting great things from this litter, or otherwise I wouldn't make the breeding. So each breeding, you know, if you see, I'm just getting better and better with the breedings. So this right here is really gonna be something special.
Can't see nobody stopping us, man. We're unstoppable. Went through a whole lot of obstacles. I swear we did the impossible.